it's April from April's Home, and today I'm here with a book haul. I have a lot of books that I've picked up this month, mostly in the children's literature category, a lot of classic children's literature, as well as some other classics. And then also recently, I attended my library's local used book sale. They have it a few times a year, so I was really excited to go and check out what treasures I found this time. A lot of times I will pick out some older books just because I'm curious to look at them, and then I make sure if I'm done with them that I donate them back to the library so that the Friends of the Library book sale can sell them again, and it helps as a fundraiser. That is also where I donate all of the books that I declutter. So first I thought I would share with you some of the ones that I picked up at the library book sale. So let me pull those forward. Okay, so I got a stack here, not too many this time, just some fun ones that I thought would be interesting to look through. This one looked really interesting. It's called Raven and River, and it was really beautifully illustrated. I love crows and ravens, and I just thought this would be really interesting to look through and read. It is a children's story, so I will have to look through and see what I think about it and see if I want to add this to my library, but it looked really interesting. My husband spotted this one. It is a book. It is in praise of stay-at-home moms. I've been a stay-at-home mom and wife for over 20 years now, and I just thought it would be really interesting to read someone else's take on it. I'm not 100% sure I will read through this whole book, but I will definitely skim through it and see if it's something that I'd like to read. Just looked kind of interesting. And then this one I picked up for my son's wife. I also thought it'd be fun to look through myself. My son's wife is a cheerleading coach, and in high school she was also a cheerleader, and this is a really fun book from the 1980s. It is full of interesting ideas or interesting things to do in cheer. And since she's a cheer coach, I thought it would be really fun. I thought she would get a kick out of it. Of course, they do things a little differently now, so I thought it'd be neat for her to see what kind of things they did back when this book was published. And I also thought she might like to share this with her cheerleaders that she's currently coaching. I thought that they might get a kick out of seeing a vintage cheerleading book. So I picked that one up for her. And then I picked up this one, Nature's Great Balancing Act in Our Own Backyard. As you know, I love gardening and all the nature and birds and things in my backyard. So I thought that this would be really interesting as well. It kind of talks about some of the wildlife, has a lot of pretty pictures, which I also think is inspiring. I love looking through old pictures like that, and I thought that would be a really fun one to read through. And then this is another fun sort of vintage children's book. It's called Dollhouse Fun, Furniture You Can Make, and it's an old library copy. I think that this looks like so much fun. I also have to be really careful with old books. I am allergic to musty paper, very allergic actually, so I always have to give it a smell and make sure it doesn't smell too old or musty. And sometimes I just keep them for a short time, enough time to kind of get the idea, and then again I just donate them back. But this is a really fun one, really cute, about how to craft your own dollhouse as well as furniture. Something I've always been interested in doing. I used to make a bunch of individual doll room scenes and miniatures and stuff like that, so I thought that this would just be really fun to look through, perhaps get some ideas or possibly craft some of these. I love that it came with so many patterns. Just looked like a lot of fun. And this one is also from the 80s, so I just thought that that was neat. And then I came across this one. I didn't have much time to look through it while I was at the book sale, but it looked really interesting, about a holiday book about European folk festivals. And the style of artwork here looks a little bit like it might be a Waldorf type book or a vintage type book or something. So I'm not sure what this is about, but it definitely caught my eye. I love the artwork here, and I love different festivals from around the world, so I thought this would be definitely one I would love to read. And then lastly from the book sale is this big National Parks Reader's Digest book. I have been really interested in national parks lately. I definitely want to visit as many as possible. I want to start getting on more road trips. I've seen a couple, but I would love to see more. So you can see here it has Acadia, the Smoky Mountains, Everglades, Big Bend, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Olympic, Denali, Hawaiian volcanoes, and then a guide about traveling to the parks and whatnot. But the really great thing is, of course, the pictures. So many beautiful pictures of the different things to see in the national parks. So even though this book might be a little bit outdated, I thought it would be worth it to look through some of the pictures and just inspire me to continue on planning, getting out on some of those road trips and seeing some of the national parks. They are just so beautiful, and this just looked like a really fun book. So those are all the choices that I picked up at the used book sale. And now for some of the books that I've purchased at Amazon throughout the last month to add to my children's library and classics library. So the first book set is the Anne of Green Gables series here. This is something I've wanted to have in my library for quite some time. I was originally holding out for a different book set with some covers that I really liked in hardcover, but I could never find all of the books in it. And so I decided to stop waiting and just pick up all 8. And it was a very good price at the time, so I thought that that would be a good idea. So I'm really eager to start reading through this. Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea and the series Avonlea are some of my favorite things to watch. I've read Anne of Green Gables before, but I've never read the rest of them, so I really want to do that. Really want to get into that and make sure that I read this series. So I'm really excited to add this to my library. It's just a fun set, and I love that it included all 8 books. And then another one of my absolute favorite books, My Side of the Mountain. I have the original book of My Side of the Mountain, but I didn't have the other ones, the continuation of that story. So My Side of the Mountain, On the Far Side of the Mountain, and Frightful's Mountain is in this hardback trilogy of the series. So I thought that'd be really wonderful to have. Again, this is one of my favorite stories. I read this to my children when they were younger, and also I love the movie that was made, I think, in the 80s. It's one of my favorite little movies to watch, a very family-friendly, fun, and interesting movie. And so I can't wait to read the other 2 here. I'll probably reread My Side of the Mountain as well, and then kind of go through this trilogy. And when I spotted this on Amazon, I also spotted this, which I have never seen before. This is a pocket guide to the outdoors based on My Side of the Mountain. As a child, I would love, sort of dream about going off and living outdoors like the main character in My Side of the Mountain does. And I used to just daydream about being able to do that and figure out how I might do that and things like that. So I thought this was just really intriguing, and I cannot wait to read this as well, kind of go along with the My Side of the Mountain series. I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce the author's name. I think Jean Craighead George or Jean Craighead George. I'm not sure. But either way, wonderful, wonderful series. And then I thought just to add this to my library as well. This is a guide for using My Side of the Mountain in the classroom. I just thought that this would be a fun thing to have just in case I ever had the opportunity to share this book series with one of my nieces, my younger nieces and nephews, or perhaps in the future my grandchildren, something like that. And I just was curious how they might use this in the classroom as well. So I picked up this little curriculum guide. I've had these in the past, back when I did homeschool, and I thought that this would just be an interesting thing to have in my library alongside these books. So I was really excited about that. And then I happened to hear on YouTube, I can't remember what video I was watching, but somebody suggested the book series Julie of the Wolves. And so I ordered that series as well because it sounded really intriguing. Julie of the Wolves, and also Julie here, and also Julie's Wolf Pack. So the trilogy of that. And then when it came, I realized it was written by the same person who wrote My Side of the Mountain. I did not realize that when I was ordering it. I ordered it as a completely separate purchase just because it was one that had been recommended. And when I found out it was written by the same person as who wrote My Side of the Mountain, I was really, really excited. So I'm sure I'm going to love this series as well. And I also really can't wait to read this. And also, because I was ordering the My Side of the Mountain literature unit guide, I decided to order the literature unit guide for Julie of the Wolves. It just seems like such an intriguing book series. And now I'm really glad that I did, knowing that they're all written by the same author, one that I really enjoy. So I'm excited to add these to my library as well. And then I've really been interested in reading more of Little House on the Prairie books. I've read them a couple of times all the way through, and I just really enjoy the Little House on the Prairie series, as well as, of course, the classic television series that I loved growing up. So I thought that I would pick up this. Of course, being from Oregon, we always learn a lot about the Oregon Trail around here. There's really fun places to go visit about the Oregon Trail. So I thought I would pick up this book, Daily Life in a Covered Wagon. Just looked, again, like a really interesting book. I often love to approach some of my own learning from the simplistic level. I love just getting a little bit of knowledge here and seeing some interesting pictures. And it just looks like a lot of fun to kind of learn a little bit more about the Oregon Trail and life in a covered wagon. So I got that. I'm really interested in reading that. And then since I was on a roll purchasing some of my old favorite books from my childhood, I thought I would also add in this set here of Encyclopedia Brown. This was one of my favorite books to read as a young reader, probably around the second grade or first grade or something like that. I'm not sure how young I was when I read Encyclopedia Brown, but I remember loving it. So I definitely wanted to have this again and make sure to have this in my library since it was so much one of my favorites. I'm not 100% sure it is the same book as it was when I was a child. I know occasionally they will redo these to make them more modern. Either way, though, I'm excited to read this. This comes with the first 4 books here: Encyclopedia Brown, Boy Detective, Encyclopedia Brown in the Case of the Secret Pitch, Encyclopedia Brown Finds the Clues, and Encyclopedia Brown Gets His Man. And I do remember reading all of these as a kid. I read every single Encyclopedia Brown book that I could. And then this one, because I love UFOs and stuff like that, I decided to get this Encyclopedia Brown one as well. It's Encyclopedia Brown and the Case of the Secret UFOs. So I thought that'd be fun. Occasionally I just love picking these up and taking a short time to just read through one really quickly. It's just very fun. And again, I just love having these books on my shelf, accessible to some of the younger members of my family who might want to read some of my favorite books from when I was a kid. And then I got another series just very recently. There's been, of course, a lot of controversy surrounding the Little House on the Prairie series. And one of the suggestions is to read a book written by a Native American person that kind of is written in the same time period as Little House on the Prairie, but from the point of view of a Native American girl. So then I saw this series here, and it is really supposed to be a very good series by, I think, Louise Edrich. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's called The Birch Bark House, and it is a National Book Award finalist. And I'm really interested in reading this as well, especially because I love history, and because I love the Little House on the Prairie series so much, I thought I would read something from the same time period, and also just to have this in my library to kind of read alongside the Little House on the Prairie series. So I got The Birch Bark House. I got all of them that are in the series. This is the newest one here. I'm not sure what order they go in, aside from I'm pretty sure the first one is The Birch Bark House. And here on the back it says, Omakayas and her family live on the land her people call the island of the golden-breasted woodpecker. Although the Chimukaman white people encroach more and more on their land, life continues much as it always has. Every summer they build a new birch bark house. Every fall they go to ricing camp to harvest and feast. They move to the cedar log house before the first snows arrive and celebrate the end of the long cold winters at Maple sugaring camp. In between Omakaya's fights with her annoying little brothers, Pinch plays with the adorable baby, Niwo, and tries to be grown up like her big sister, Angeline. But the satisfying rhythms of their life are shattered when a visitor comes to their lodge one winter night, bringing with him an invisible enemy that will change things forever, but that will eventually lead Omakayas to discover her calling. It says here, by turns moving and humorous, this novel is breathtaking tour de force by a gifted writer. So I'm really excited to read that. It sounds really intriguing. I would love to learn more about that. Also included in the series is The Porcupine Year and Chickadee and The Game of Silence, which I will have to return because my book arrived like this, sort of damaged here on the top. They did not cut it correctly, and it kind of cut into the book. So I'm hoping to get a new copy of that, swap that at Amazon there. But this one, The Game of Silence, it's a sequel to The Birch Bark House. I do wish that I could have gotten all the books in this cover art. I just think it is so sweet. I like this cover art better, but they only had it in the 2 newest ones, Chickadee. This is book 4, and then of course the latest one, book 5 of the Birch Bark House series, Macoons, which again, I just love the cover art. It looks so sweet, and I'm really eager to read through this series. So that is that series. And then I got 2 more books, just really light-hearted ones that just looked really fun. This is called The Yeti Files Meets Bigfoot. I'll be attending the Bigfoot Festival here coming up next month, and I just think Bigfoot stuff is really fun since, again, I live in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of Bigfoot Bigfoot lore around here, and I just thought that the storyline sounded really cute, and the pictures looked really fun. It's just sort of a little comic-y thing. I thought it would be fun to just kind of look through and see if this would be a fun series that, again, perhaps would be enjoyed by my younger nieces and nephews. So I thought I would check that out. It just looks like a lot of fun. I thought it would be neat to see. And then also I picked up this book here, The Little People, Big Dreams. I've been really interested in looking through a few of these. I've seen a lot of historical people in this series of books, and they look neat. So I thought I would start with this one, Coco Chanel. I've always thought her story was really interesting, and I thought it would be neat to see it from a child book viewpoint. I know that the illustrations in these are really, really interesting and well done. I love a bunch of the different children's series that approach either the classics, how they've done a lot of the classics in like little board book format, or they're doing little biographies of a bunch of famous people in this sort of interesting and child-friendly format. There are a bunch of books in this series, and I'm excited to check this one out and see if I'd like to add more of them to my library as well. Again, I think that the art in this book is really interesting, and I'm excited to read their take on Coco Chanel's biography. So that is the Little People, Big Dreams Coco Chanel book. So those are all the fun books I got. A lot of reading, again, mostly children's literatures, and the set of classics here, and then my books from the library book sale. And a few more books than I intended to add to my collection this year. I will definitely have to find a spot for these on my recently decluttered bookshelves. So definitely a lot of fun new books to add to my library, as well as add to my summer reading. I am excited to read through some of these classic children's books that I've loved in the past, as well as some of the new ones that I picked out, and then the Anne of Green Gables series. I have slowly but surely been catching up on my reading list this summer. I'm finally able to kind of sit back down and get to reading, and I hope you enjoyed taking a look at all the books that I've added to my library this month. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more videos from April's Home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.